Hi, welcome. A very good day to you. Thank you for joining our webinar, Don't Complicate Your Cloud Journey. My name is Paul, and I am here to facilitate this webinar and to help moderate the Q&A after the presentations. We have with us two speakers for today, Chris Southgate, Advanced Networking Lead at Microsoft, and Sharon Kao, Associate Director at Singtel. They will speak for about 15 minutes each, after which we will end with a short Q&A. But first, a brief introduction of the topic. Now, enterprises recognize the value of the cloud, and many have already migrated to it. Indeed, Gartner predicts that 75% of all databases, which is a good gauge of enterprise applications, will be hosted in the cloud by 2022. But today, we want to hear about some of the developments we are seeing around the public cloud and cloud services during this time of COVID-19, as well as hear some best practices around connectivity. In the cloud-first world, how can organizations ensure they are well-equipped to access data and services securely, quickly, and reliably? We hope to address that with today's webinar. Without much ado, let's get started. Over to you, Chris.
Thank you, Paul, and thank you for having me here today. It's a great honor to speak to our joint audience, and I'm very much forward to looking to the Q&A later. So this is Satya Nadella, for those that you don't know. He's the CEO of Microsoft. And with this quote that I've included here, I think it's quite important and resonates quite clearly with what we've seen in 2020, right? So this has been definitely the year of change for all of us and for enterprises in general. And as we sort of navigate the As we navigate the response, recovery, and reimagined phases of the challenges that we have, specifically, say, in Microsoft, we all still have, though, a collective opportunity and responsibility to define what's next. We know that it won't be business as usual, and we need to develop an acute sense of what should be rebuilt, what should be reimagined, and what should be left behind. The technology sector as a percentage of global GDP has been forecast to increase from 5 to 10% over the next decade. This year, we've seen a significant acceleration of that. And the conversation is really now landing with our CIOs of major enterprise organizations, as well as those in the small to medium arena as well. So for example, right, 89% of CIOs say they will accelerate their public cloud investments, and that's up from 54% in the beginning of this year. So you can appreciate that there's been significant impact into organizations where technology is viewed as having a positive impact. For instance, adoption of data and AI is increasingly a differentiator for every business, as is the multi-sense, multi-device collaboration, which has made remote everything possible. These secular trends are fundamentally shaping every industry across the planet within public sector and private sectors. Just take the surge in telehealth. More than half at the major health systems are being conducted virtually. Providers are more than ever relying on AI-assisted bots to ensure that patients are getting the information where and whenever they need it. Or take e-commerce, which has been pulled forward multiple years by one analyst. Offline retailers are embracing new models like contactless shopping. And again, while this year has taught us that no business is 100% resilient, those fortified by digital technology are more resilient, more capable of transforming when faced with these secular structural changes in the marketplace. More than ever, organizations are relying on Azure and our partners to stay up and running with health tech triage, with AI bots, as I mentioned before, to digital twins in manufacturing, to e-commerce in retail. We are the only cloud that extends the edge from Azure Edge Zones for 5G to Azure Sphere for secure IoT. We're removing those boundaries for anyone who wants to migrate to the cloud by addressing their data sovereignty and regulatory needs. And this is supported by our global network. We have 61 data centers regionally today, more than any other cloud provider. In fact, we announced 7 new data center regions last financial year alone. Sustainability is also important to Microsoft, where we have an ambition to generate net zero emissions. And we seek partners like Singtel to go through that journey with us. So you can see Teams adoption as well grew significantly in the first couple of months of 2020. It became from a service that was cool and convenient to something that was now mission critical for a lot of enterprises, for a lot of our customers. For instance, you can see that the daily active usage increased significantly from 32 to 75 million in the span of just 1 month. We've got 200+ million daily meeting participants taking place and 4.1 billion daily meeting minutes, which is just staggering compared to even just the beginning of the year, not even considering last year. For example, Accenture is averaging 150 million minutes in Teams meetings each week, which again is just absolutely struggling. Now, and at this time, Microsoft also began experiencing phenomenal demand for our cloud services. As much as the world began sheltering at home or looking at different remote work solutions, each school district moved to online learning, Teams meetings moved from a convenience to an essential service, as I mentioned. Kids embraced video games, right? There's this constant barrage on our network. And at the end of March, where I mentioned Teams has significantly increased, a lot of that impact was then felt on the rest of our network. And it wasn't just our customers, but it was also our employees, where at Microsoft we employ over 150,000 individuals globally. They then had to look at remote work situations as well. Take Azure VPN, for instance, which is one of our primary solutions for enabling remote work. And that could be from a particular branch or office or from your own personal device or work device. We saw a 700% increase, and that's a 94% growth connections to Azure VPN, which again, it shows you the transformation that we had from being in the office to now working from home or other remote locations. This in turn tipped towards our WAN growth. We saw 40 times peak traffic growth, and unfortunately, and this is just the nature of the world, we saw an increase up to 50% of denial of services attacks. And that was across our entire global WAN, which I shared with you before. I think what's also interesting to note is the particular lockdowns that occurred across the globe. For instance, China occurred around about the 23rd of January, and that increased Azure WAN traffic. Italy, the same signals were also seen, as well as United States. And we're not just talking about double-digit growth here, right? It's 40% growth. And this had, again, a major impact on our network, and we had to ensure that we had to flex for our customers, because this is an indication of those customers that we service with inside our public cloud offering, Azure. We looked at WAN, so scaling across our WAN environments. So as I mentioned in the previous slide around our last year financial increases, this year we actually had to stand up 12 new edge sites, and we also saw a 25% increase peering capacity. And this is This is not something that Microsoft does it on its own. We rely on partners like Singtel to do this, especially when we start talking about Southeast Asia, for instance. Singtel are our primary partner in that regard. And we're jointly servicing our customers to ensure that latency, that they can access their critical systems aren't interrupted either. So these are vital systems that we're ensuring that there's access to. There's also, just the last tidbit there, around 110 plus terabytes, right, was added to the capacity, and that's all within a 2-month period. And you can see the percentage increase here on the right graph as well. So again, we're seeing absolute phenomenal growth this year. We've also seen further expansions across our technologies. So for instance, where I mentioned we're increasing the edges, we're also looking at increasing data center footprints as well as optimization. So looking at the logical side of optimization. So we're bringing together the forecasts, we're looking at demand peaks, we're looking at even reconfiguring our topology, and what does that look like from a technical and logical transformation perspective. And ultimately, we put that in a compiler, and we want to make sure that we have a safe, resilient topology for our customers. And to be able to do that effectively, we need to actually figure out what's going on in the network. So we utilize Azure Traffic Manager internally at Microsoft, but we've also provided this as a service to our customers, where they can get an understanding of the peak traffic across multiple time zones. And with this, we also again saw a 40% month-on-month growth from January to March, and that has continued to grow as we see it as well. Sorry, I'll pause there. We've also seen new time-based traffic management profiles. So again, we're seeing 3.2 terabytes less traffic on the network, and that's talking about the optimization that we're providing as well as that service to our joint customers.
Thank you, Chris. We are doing our webinar, Don't Complicate Your Cloud Journey. Chris Southgate of Microsoft just presented. Next up will be Sharon Cowell of Singtel. Sharon, over to you.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Chris, for the great sharing. It's really insightful to see how cloud-based applications and network consumption has changed over the last few months, fueled by the pandemic situation. Good afternoon. My name is Sharon, and I'll be walking you through and sharing with you some of the network trends we see our customers when they start embarking on the cloud journey. And we would like to share some insights that we see and how some of these network complications can be further simplified. Indeed, with the recent pandemic, we see businesses adopting cloud services faster than ever before. With cloud performance closely tied to network performance, it is imperative for business to adopt the right network solutions to best support their cloud workloads and their requirements. In the next few minutes, we'd like to share with you what some of our customers are doing when they embark on their cloud journey. The majority of our customers do start off with the public internet to secure their workload or the data transfer between their office and to the public cloud environment. Typically, they will secure it with the IPsec or site-to-site VPN. This is fairly easy, but scalability is sometimes a challenge from our customers. When customers' workload starts to mature and where they have more workloads going into the cloud, customers start coming to us and they start looking at sourcing for better solutions, better cloud connectivity solutions, accessing the cloud. These are typically driven by 3 key things: security and regulatory concerns, because they have so much workload going in the cloud, they would like to bypass the internet for security purpose. This is also driven by the need for hybrid IT, where a partial of their workloads are on-prem and some of them are hosted in the cloud. And lastly, the need for real-time interactions to support their digital business ecosystems. So some of our customers we spoke to have chosen to leverage on their MPLS or their IPVPN network to extend their corporate network to the public cloud. So customers who have 5 sites, 50 sites, or even 500 sites on an MPLS network, they could easily scale those multi-sites to the cloud using an MPLS extension. And the solution is typically simple and fairly seamless, and self-configuration from the ISP end, we will be able to help customers enable the cloud connections between their multi-site environment and the public cloud. Sometimes we also do see customers requesting for premium or private connections to the public clouds. These are typically customers who have got sizable workload and they need a high performance, low latency connections between their on-prem data centers to the cloud, right? So these are the solutions that typically adopted by the enterprise, the MNC customers. With multi-cloud adoption on the rise, analysts is saying the multi-cloud adoption has a year-on-year growth of about 30%. We see businesses considering other options like the cloud exchange to enable a seamless access to multi-cloud ecosystems. The cloud exchange has a few advantages, has several advantages. Number one would be low total cost of ownership. We see customers being able to start small and scale on demand. And obviously, customers could have a seamless on-ramp to a multi-cloud environment to support their BCP type of requirements. In a market study conducted by IDC in 2019, customers are requesting for, expecting more from their network. Typical concerns include application performance over the internet, which is sometimes not as great. There are also concerns about internet security, and network scalability and site scalability is sometimes a concern. So customers are looking at service providers to help them with a more high performance cloud edge connectivity to help them scale better, to help them secure those connectivity between their on-prem environment and the cloud. We see a 33% of customers looking at solutions like that. Some customers are also looking at SD-WAN solutions to better help them manage the application performance over the internet. And of course, a good 20% of customers are looking for help to get them direct cloud access support, to get their multi-cloud support, to help them with their cloud journey. At Singtel, we believe network services can be better improved to support customers' cloud ambition. It can be more agile by leveraging on new technologies like XDN to deliver centralized management across different network platforms via service portal. Network services can be more consistent. It can be more predictable, providing a more deterministic routing between customers' applications and customers' users. And last but not least, visibility, deeper network insights to really help the IT administrator, to help the business preempt issues and to make more informed decisions. We are continually looking at leveraging on new technologies, working with partners to better our services to help our customers be successful in their cloud journey. One of such initiatives is really partnering with our strategic partner, Microsoft, to enable a cloud optimized business internet grade service. The partnership internet service works hand in hand with Microsoft Azure peering service to deliver a direct internet path between both our networks, making sure the traffic gets to and from destination quickly in a deterministic manner, thereby delivering optimal performance and reliability for our customers. With the joint initiative, customers can look forward to three key things. Reliability. With a partnership internet, the traffic stays within the Microsoft and Singtel network without going through a third party, delivering the reliability and stability you need for your business grade applications. Performance. Number two is performance. By enabling a single hop or a direct access to Microsoft network and an optimized routing delivered in Microsoft Cloud, customers are assured of the shortest and most optimized path between the users and to where their applications are being hosted. And last but not least, visibility. The joint offer delivers network or internet telemetry service, providing businesses with insights on latency, route monitoring, and even notifications on route leaks and hijacks, giving businesses the assurance and insights to respond quickly to any crisis. With more companies introducing remote work conditions, Microsoft Teams 365 services and SaaS-based services are becoming a primary method of communications and collaborations between the enterprise. The solution that we spoke about, the Joy Partnership Internet solution we spoke about, is well positioned to deliver an elevated experience for our customers to the full suite of Microsoft services. For customers implementing or looking at hybrid IT or cloud strategy, we believe a robust and flexible interconnection between our on-prem environment and the cloud is key. Over the last year, we have worked with multiple enterprise customers to assist them with their network requirements to deliver their hybrid cloud strategy. With a single access to our network fabric, customers can get direct access to an ecosystem of multi-cloud, private cloud, and also the on-prem data center. Once the physical infrastructure is being set up with the fabric, the service portal will enable customers to create and manage their cloud connections on the go, allowing their network to move in accordance to a business growth and changes. Some of the key highlights that I'd like to point out is the service does deliver a very high performance, a future-ready network delivering a high uptime of up to 99.99%. The solution is primarily programmable, delivering activating cloud networking services in less than 5 minutes, and compared to delivering multiple list lines to different data centers and to different clouds, customers can look forward to more than 25% savings compared to multiple cloud, multiple list lines. I'd like to take the next few minutes to share with you what some of our customers have used and benefited from the cloud connectivity solution we just spoke about. The first customer we have is actually a healthcare institution that is looking at adopting a hybrid cloud strategy. And because this is actually a healthcare institution, having a secure and simplified network is actually one of the key requirements. And they are looking for a solution provider to help them to unify their hybrid cloud and multi-cloud environment. With the Singtel solution, we effectively deliver a single port access for customers' multi-cloud access to the various clouds that they have in mind. We also help them to simplify the activation of the service and allow them to flex their connections on demand and for those services to be created and to be adjusted in minutes. So the service is primarily connected to their primary data center, and through a centralized managed portal, we have effectively helped customers to deliver the secure and flexible solution between the data centers and to the public cloud environment. The second customers I'd like to share is the logistics business who is looking at optimizing their network access to Microsoft SaaS services. The company is a big user of Microsoft SaaS services, primarily Office 365 services, and the requirement is for both the users and the HQ and branches to have reliable access to O365 services. So what Singtel did for them is to solution our solution to provide them a direct internet path between their HQ and their Office 365 environment. And with the service, with the partnership internet, customers are looking forward to a consistent and predictable performance for their SaaS network. And last but not least, the administrator has also been empowered with the visibility of the latency and jitter and performance that is enabled through our network portal. All right, with that, thank you so much for your time. I hope we have given you some ideas on how network need not be complicated and how it could be further simplified to assist you with your cloud journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. And as you can see from the screen, we want to do a short Q&A right now. So let me just put away this slide so they can see all of us. All right, thank you. Okay, hey, Chris, thank you for your presentation earlier today. And now you mentioned that when growth is accelerating significantly, now from your point of view and your perspective, what role do you see WAN optimization playing in the enterprise?
Yeah, so thank you for the question, Paul. WAN optimization is vital from what we see with organizations that are going through some form of digital transformation. So for instance, a lot of organizations might have their data estate tied up in typical infrastructure, right? And as they start migrating that over into the public cloud arena, so for instance in Azure, the network gets more constrained. It actually also becomes more relevant to the rest of the organization, not just IT operations. So take example SAP. SAP is a great workload. It's normally a core application for a lot of organizations. The minute that's in the public cloud and you're having users access that system, let's say across the world, WAN optimization becomes absolutely vital, because it's going to play a critical role in ensuring the stability of the user experience. So WAN optimization would increase the usability of the system that's in the cloud, the user experience. There's also, we've seen organic growth, right? So you put your workloads in different clouds, and you start growing your existing network organically, like an MPLS or SD-WAN. That unfortunately doesn't translate too well in sort of the cloud environment. So when you start looking at break-ins, like for instance ExpressRoute and VPN into these public clouds, you need to find a way to make them more secure, first of all, so through partners like yourselves at Singtel. But also making sure that they're sustainable, that they're also not prone to failure. So multiple redundancies is always a good way to go as well. So WAN optimization is that technical component. Just finally on that though, there's also looking at sort of the cost perspective as well, right? So you want to be able to ensure that you've got broad manageability around your environments. You want to make sure that you're seamlessly accessing your workloads, but you've also got that overall monitoring and control over that WAN that you've now got that's stretching into the cloud. So it's playing both those sort of angles there.
Thank you, Chris, for sharing your thoughts and insights about WAN optimization. So I got another question, and this one is for Sharon. And I saw in the slides earlier that Sharon, you talked about optimized internet. So from your point of view, I mean, when should businesses consider switching to optimized internet?
Yeah, thank you, Paul. I think we spoke about the partnership internet, that we have some tight partnership going on with Microsoft. I think the solution is really delivered for our customers who are heavy users of Microsoft's SaaS services. Over the years, we do see customers coming to us and talking about how can they have better predictable performance to their Office platforms. So those are some of the key requirements, and I thought this partnership internet is very timely, really to help customers have a more predictable network performance, having a more predictable route and a direct route to their Office 365 or even Teams applications. Now, as to how much is, when should customers be starting to look at, I think it really depends on how much workload the customers have. So essentially for enterprise customers or even mid-sized customers who are relying heavily on Microsoft SaaS services for their communications, collaborations, and even their workloads, they could certainly consider a solution like that to help them get a more enhanced performance.
Thank you so much, Sharon, for your insights on this front. So once again, for the rest of you who are listening in, thank you for attending our webinar today. So if you have any questions, please feel free to continue to email us at this email address, which we'll put on the screen, right? g-c+mktg@singtel.com. Okay, so thank you once again for attending our webinar. We hope to see you again soon at another webinar. Goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.